Breaking down the Fever injury situation, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham among several players sidelined. Indiana has had an injury-plagued season. Not even the Indiana Fever's coaches can stay healthy. Prior to the team's loss to the Phoenix Mercury on Tuesday, Stephanie White confirmed the team's latest significant injury. Player development coach Keith Porter has ruptured his right Achilles tendon. His spirits are good, White said. Keith is just one of those guys that's always happy, and he's a very faithful guy. It's an adjustment right now, because he's not on the floor, but eventually once he gets through surgery he'll be back on. But you're still gonna hear his voice. It's just like if one of us got hurt. You're still gonna hear his voice, he's still gonna be there, he's still gonna be giving the tips. As soon as he can, he's gonna be back on the floor making passes. He might not be D'ing somebody up or out on the court playing with physicality, but his voice is still a presence. Porter, known for his work with three-time All-Star LA of Boston, will join the ranks of the Walking Wounded in Indianapolis. The Fever, who began the season with championship expectations, have been decimated by injuries. Most notably, Caitlin Clark has been limited to 13 appearances due to an array of lower body ailments, while three players, Sydney Colson, Sophie Cunningham, and Ari McDonald, have been ruled out for the season. After Tuesday's defeat, the Fever sit in 8th place at 21-20, just one game ahead of the 9th-place Los Angeles Sparks, who own the tiebreaker between the clubs. With less than a week remaining until the Fever play their final regular season game on September 9, here's a rundown of their unfathomable injury situation. Chloe Bibby, left knee, out indefinitely. The Fever's current roster looks nothing like it did to begin the season. One of the new faces is Chloe Bibby, who initially joined the team on a 7-day contract in late July and signed a rest-of-season contract on August 1. Bibby, who went undrafted in 2022, had bounced around overseas before catching on with the Golden State Valkyries earlier in the season. She was released after just 5 appearances with the expansion squad, but did enough to catch the Fever's eye. While Bibby got off to an impressive start with the Fever and hit multiple three-pointers in her first 3 appearances, she went ice-cold for a few weeks and fell out of the rotation. Recently, she started to deal with left knee soreness and has not played since August 17. It's unclear when she'll return. White indicated that all of the Fever's recent travel has caused Bibby's knee to swell up, which is why she remains on the injury report. Caitlin Clark, right groin, out indefinitely. Clark's injury problems started during preseason when she was scratched from a warm-up game against the Washington Mystics due to left quad tightness. She appeared in the Fever's final 2 preseason games and was ready for opening day, a 35-point win over the Chicago Sky in which she recorded a triple-double, but only managed 4 appearances before suffering a left quad strain. Clark sat out for 3 weeks before returning on June 14 with a stunning 32-point, 8-rebound, 9-assist outing against the reigning champion New York Liberty. Her second stint would last just 5 games, however, before she tweaked her left groin. After another 2+ weeks on the mend, Clark returned to action on July 9 in a defeat to the Golden State Valkyries, but did not look like herself. She struggled through 4 games before injuring her right groin late in a win over the Connecticut Sun on July 15 and has not played since. The Fever have never set a timeline for Clark's return, and it remains unclear when, or if, she'll play again this season. White told reporters Tuesday that Clark has still not been cleared for contact and remains limited to non-contact drills and individual work. White had previously indicated that she wants to see Clark go through multiple practices with physicality before she feels comfortable putting her back into a real game. "I want to see her in practice, live in practice," White said. "I want to see her to continue to work to not just build endurance, but to be able to handle contact 94 feet as it's going to be in game, and to be able to do that and sustain from an endurance standpoint. And that's going to take multiple practices to make sure that there's no regression. As most of us know, when we get fatigued, we look different. We need to see how she plays through fatigue." White has maintained that the hope is that Clark plays again this season, but the superstar guard is running out of time. The Fever will play their final regular season game on September 9, 2 days before the regular season comes to a close on September 11. If the Fever, who occupy 8th place, make the postseason, Game 1 of their first-round series will be on September 14. Sydney Colson, torn left ACL, out for season. Coulson, who made her WNBA debut back in 2011, signed with the Fever in free agency last offseason. She was expected to be a veteran presence in the locker room who could provide some backcourt depth, but ended up playing more than anyone expected due to the Fever's injury problems. During a defeat to the Phoenix Mercury on August 7, Coulson went to chase down an offensive rebound near the Fever's bench and landed awkwardly. She immediately collapsed to the ground and was later diagnosed with a torn ACL in her left knee that will keep her out for the remainder of the season. In 30 games this season, Coulson averaged 2.4 points and 2 assists in 13.5 minutes per night. Sophie Cunningham, torn right MCL, out for season. The Fever were wheeling and dealing this offseason, and one of their biggest moves was trading the No. 8 overall pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, Sania Rivers, to the Connecticut Sun, and Alyssa Smith to the Dallas Wings in exchange for Cunningham from the Mercury as part of what eventually became a 10-team mega trade. Cunningham, who spent the first 6 seasons of her career with the Mercury, tweaked her ankle during the preseason, which delayed her debut with the team until May 22. Another ankle injury a week later put her on the shelf for 2 weeks. As a result of those injuries, and the move to a new city to play for a new organization, Cunningham struggled at first in Indianapolis. Shortly before the All-Star break, though, Cunningham was inserted into the starting lineup and found her stride. In 13 games as a starter, she averaged 11.2 points and shot 51.6% from the field, including 46.9% from three-point range. Her momentum came to a halt against the Sun on August 17 when Bria Hartley fell into her leg and she had to be helped off the floor. An MRI later revealed a torn MCL in her right leg that ended her season. Ari McDonald, broken right foot, out for season. Early in the season, the Fever were so short-handed that they qualified for an emergency hardship exception. They used it to sign former lottery pick Ari McDonald, who was a surprise cut by the Los Angeles Sparks during training camp. McDonald made an immediate impact for the Fever, but rules of the emergency hardship exception dictated that she had to be released once the Fever were healthy. As it turned out, McDonald wasn't gone for long. When DeWanna Bonner, the Fever's marquee free agent signing, quit on the team in late June, it opened up the cap space to sign McDonald for the remainder of the season. McDonald immediately became one of the team's best defenders, and her pace, ability to get downhill, and playmaking allowed the team to play largely the same way it did without Clark. The Fever were 12-8 with McDonald in the lineup. Unfortunately for McDonald and the Fever, her season came to an end during the same August 7 defeat to the Mercury, in which Coulson was injured. In the fourth quarter of that contest, McDonald suffered a broken bone in her right foot. Over her 20 games with the Fever, McDonald averaged 9.8 points, 4.7 assists, and 1.3 steals.